Well, 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 if it isn't some fantasy battle royale. So this was PUBG's 2020 April Fool's Day joke, was to include this game mode as a limited time playable event. And I thought this was a lot of fun, and I want to talk about how this went, everything surrounding it, the feedback, positive and negative, and also talk about the current state of the game. Also, I should mention, as the time of me recording this video and posting online, the event is still live, but is ending soon. If you're on the East Coast in the US, this event will be ending on April 8th at 2 a.m. And then if you're on the West Coast, it's going to be ending on the 7th at 11 p.m. at night. So basically the 7th is the last full day that we had to play this, and hopefully you had a chance to check it out. But if not, I'm going to be going through kind of the summary in this video. So personally, I thought this game mode was a ton of fun, and I also want to make that an additional theme of this video, is just talking about fun and how important that is in PUBG. But before we get into that, I also want to address some of the backlash that came along with this new game mode coming in. If you didn't see my initial video on Fantasy Battle Royale, I kind of went through the timeline here and everything that happened. But if you missed that, there was a lot of backlash, people complaining, why did PUBG work on this game mode when there's so much stuff wrong with the game, etc., etc. It's actually kind of detailed, and PUBG put out a response saying that this was also a test for some new ideas, and they had their reasoning behind it, and that didn't take too long. And so many people didn't believe PUBG and were saying that's a spin, there's no way it didn't take long, and all this stuff, and that PUBG's lying, and not to trust them. But did you guys end up playing this event mode, all the people that were saying that? Because as soon as you launch into the game, it's literally just PUBG with different outfits, and there's only a few new items and things that had to be coded into the game. So I completely believe them when they say it didn't take that long, because if it did, they didn't get that much done, because it's still the same Erangel, still the same characters. It's basically PUBG with melee items and some crystals in the game and some new outfit designs, which PUBG's always adding in new outfits anyway. So I just don't see what would have taken that long here. And then what's interesting is now that the game mode's out, I mean, maybe it's not the same people complaining, but right after it launched, I saw a lot of people saying how much fun they were having. People were posting funny videos. People were sharing funny moments with friends. People were saying this was very needed right now, considering everything that's going on. People are at home because of coronavirus, gaming more. People take PUBG so seriously that having a fun mode like this is just a nice change of pace, a breath of fresh air, some people are saying. And for me, all of that feedback right there is why I was excited about this game mode coming in, to bring some laughter and joy into PUBG. Fun is so important, especially in times like right now, that I think it's okay to waste some time or do something silly. Not everything needs to be the core gameplay and serious all the time, but obviously everyone has different opinions on this. This is not a game mode that you have to play or participate in, and I think that's the best benefit for all. But again, this is all just my opinion. Quickly here, I wrote some notes. I just want to highlight what changed in this game mode, just so we can kind of rebuttal the amount of work that PUBG put into this game mode. So first of all, most of the things are skinned. It's not a new map, it's just a skin of the map, which is very basic. You have a skin for the UAZ and the motorcycle. The other vehicles are not in the game. The Barbarian has nothing new on its character. It's just a new outfit. There's no new weapons or anything like that. Same thing for the Wizard. It's using the Molotov and also the flare gun and just a new outfit. No new items that I'm aware of or new animations. Everything was already in the game. We have the Ranger, which is a little bit different, has a new skin, and crossbow is the same, so nothing too different there. But when you throw the stun and it gives a shield or protective aura, that is a new effect that's in the game, so PUBG had to code that in at least. And then the Paladin is probably the most work, because he's holding a riot shield and has both his primary and secondary equipped at the same time. He's holding the garbage can, but it's like a riot shield in quotations. And then also when he throws his Molotov, it's got that healing aura. So that's a whole new animation that's in the game, or a new effect, at least a new visual graphic. And then on top of that, we have all of the jewels and the UI that's in the game. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything else. That's all I could think of off the bat. But there really wasn't that much additional put into the game, and I think the proof is in the pudding if you played this game mode. And on top of this, I saw a lot of people posting online that it would have been fun if they did X, Y, and Z, and I even got caught up in this. I said it would have been cool if they did some kind of drag and glider, or even made their own map for this. But all that stuff is just leading to more and more work. But it's funny that it went from some people complaining about it to people wanting more. And I'm on that spectrum, but I get that they can't just take all their resources. PUBG does have problems. PUBG is a broken game. It isn't close to perfect at all, but no game is. So I think they did an appropriate amount here, but I think there is demand for this, and there's a lot of people playing this. And even when I ask people, hey, are you doing the missions? Why are you playing? They're like, no, I'm just having fun playing the game. They weren't even concerned about the missions and all the stuff that were associated with it. So there definitely is a demand, and I saw a lot of people asking for something like this to stay around. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is ending, and hopefully we'll see something like this in the future. So like I said, this is a lot of fun, but it is one of those things that the more you play, there's not that much there, so it does get boring after a little while. But if you have a good party and you're doing well and you're having a lot of laughs, I feel like you could play this for hours on end. But if it's not going so well, or you're kind of just burnt out, it gets really boring quickly because it's kind of slow. You're just collecting jewels, and there's not that much going on because it's mostly melee. It's hard to hit people with the crossbow, and same thing with the mage. But for me, because of the mage's abilities, that was my personal favorite character. A lot of people were asking me. I felt a little basic for picking the mage because I figured this was the one that most people would pick. It's kind of the fun, shiny character with the big explosions, so I figured it would attract most players. But it really is the one I had the most fun playing with. And according to PUBG's European Twitter, it seems like it's also the case as well with a lot of people. At the time of me grabbing the screenshot, there was 558 people who voted in this poll. The Wizard was in the lead with 38% of people who voted, followed by the Ranger with 25% of the votes, Barbarian 20% of the votes, and the Paladin with 17% of the votes, which I was actually pretty surprised to see because this was my second favorite class, and in my opinion, this was probably the best single class in the game, or at least it provided the most utility for your team. Not only can the Paladin do damage, but they can heal your teammates by throwing the Molotov on the ground, give out first aids. When they attack people, it actually slows the enemy, which is probably one of the biggest effects in the game, and then they can also push enemies away. So it actually also provided one of the most unique gameplay experiences, which I thought was pretty cool as well. And then I ended up running the same poll in my YouTube stream, and the Paladin ended up winning, being the stream's favorite class. So I guess we just got a lot of smart players in the stream. I'm just teasing, but I was happy to see that the Paladin got some love. And again, all the classes are really fun. If anything, I think the Rangers just need a little bit of help, at least on console, because it definitely was hard to hit those crossbow shots. For the most part, I'm happy with how PUBG implemented the missions and how to unlock the skins in the game. If you don't want to play at all, you can just go to the store and buy each outfit for 1,000 G-Coin, which is around $10, which I think is a little high. So that's why I said for the most part, I feel like I would like to see that a lot lower. But if you did have time to play or you were interested in playing, it was fairly easy to unlock the missions, get gold, and then purchase these in the gold store in the Fantasy BR mode. But again, I would like to see the price of these go down, especially for some kind of April Fool's Day event, and the fact that even though people are at home, some people aren't and might not have time to do this. So I felt like that was kind of pricey for an optional game mode and all this stuff. And then what I was confused about is in the store, I didn't realize that the skins that were available for BP were actually alternates to the skins that are in the game. So for example, there's like the fake muscle shirt thing that you have that makes you look buff, that's got more of a lighter tone to it. And then in the store, there's a darker version that has the tattoos on the side, and I didn't immediately notice this difference or notice it in the patch notes. So I almost skipped over this, and now I'm realizing that I don't have enough BP to buy all these, and I was kind of bummed about that, so I'm just going to pick out my favorite ones and purchase them in the store. Should mention the performance, at least on console. For the most part, I didn't hear too many people complaining about crashing or see or hear too much of that going on. From my personal experience, I don't know if I crashed at all playing this game mode, but I am on the Xbox One X with an SSD. I think the biggest issue that I have to highlight here is that people who have an older Xbox, an OG or an S, sometimes they don't load in until they're already on the plane flying across the map. And if that was the case for you, you weren't able to pick what class you wanted to play as, and it just defaulted to the Barbarian. So it's a huge bummer for these people. Yes, they could still play the game, but they weren't even getting close to the full experience. They could only play as one character, and for me, that would have totally ruined it. So that's definitely the biggest bummer, and I wish they could have fixed that, but I guess there's just not too much they could do with the performance. It's just a problem that's been plaguing PUBG forever. But then getting back to the game mode, for me, like I said, it ran pretty well. For my experience, no major issues. The only visual glitch I saw was with the Paladin. Sometimes the shield wouldn't load in, but if anything, this was just more funny because it looks silly hitting people with your arm and then bouncing off. I did see this one tree appear to have like double leaves and was all glitched out, but I think that was just an Aragol thing, and sometimes there were some grid lines. Also, after I unlocked all of the new cosmetic items in the fantasy mode, I went to change my character's outfit and noticed that if you put on the new shoes with a long pair of pants, it'll actually make your ankles invisible. I don't know why I keep finding these small visual glitches, but I do, so I figured I would just include it for the lulz. And lastly here, I just want to end on the topic of fun and having fun in PUBG. Obviously, fun is subjective, and people are going to get different things out of every game that they play, including PUBG. For some people, they prefer single-player experiences. Some people want to loot more in PUBG. Some people want to shoot more in PUBG. I'm probably more of the latter. And for me, I love the competitive nature of online stuff. I'm not the most sweaty player out there, but sometimes I do get that way. Laughs over kills, like we always say in the stream. But at the end of the day, I do take pride or have a lot of fun in taking the game seriously, being strategic, and also, having a lot of funny and silly moments with my friends, doing backflips, all of that stuff. But with that being said, I'm trying to preface this by saying that I take the game seriously. I like competing in video games. I think there should be a ranked mode. I want all of that stuff in the game. I want it to be hardcore, realistic. But in the same vein, I also think that having fun and making the game fun and having stuff like this is just such a vital part to the game. And I was kind of reminded by this because I had a buddy that hadn't played PUBG in about a year or so. Shout out to Chris C. He came back to try out this game mode and also just to play because he's been seeing me play it a lot. And he said one of the things that he liked about the game was some of the fun things that they added into it, like the glider, the spike trap, this new game mode, stuff like that. But what's not fun for him is that he hasn't played in a year. He's not hardcore. The game just has such a steep learning curve. The gun recoil, the strategy, circle movement, rotations, getting killed by the blue. Stuff that when you play for a while, you know where to go. You know how to handle certain situations. But these Battle Royale games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Apex Legends have such a big learning curve or such a big barrier to entry because there's new characters, there's building, there's so much stuff that makes it hard for new players to come in. And if you're a new player, if you're not having fun, you're going to leave. So I know that things need to be fixed. People are going to leave if there's crashing, and some of this stuff is unacceptable. But even if that stuff's all fixed, people are going to leave if they're not having fun. And the fact of the matter is that Battle Royale sometimes can leave you frustrated. It's a tough experience. You only have one life. So I hope that PUBG continues to focus on making the game fun, which I think it is. It's very sandboxy, and I love a lot of the stuff that's in the game, but I feel like hopefully they will prioritize some more of that stuff. And I think we are seeing that with modes like TDM, more arcade modes in the future, this mode, and hopefully some fun stuff planned for Season 7. So I know it's kind of a weird take there at the end, but just something I've been thinking about recently, switching gears from always being so hardcore realistic, which is sort of my normal mindset, into making the game more fun, so more people come back to the game, try the game for the first time, and just have a good time playing it. So definitely interested to hear what you guys think down in the comments below about some of my opinions, this game mode, and everything. I check them all, so please leave them down below. And as always, thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5, and peace out.